So first of all, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Xiao Sunny Lee, just to have a bit of a distinction from, I heard there was another Sunny, really love to meet. Um, and I'm from University of Cambridge, Judge Business School, and thanks. Um, I'm presenting Bridge the Gap with a long, super long subtitle. Right, next. Mind the gap. This is a sentence you always heard in the MTR, if I say it right, the subway here, as well as in the tube, London. It kind of resonates with myself, at least, given my complex sort of like many hats I'm wearing. One of them is adjunct professor at Thomas Jefferson University, teaching architecture over there, mostly focusing on the technology side of things. Also, I'm a senior BIM manager at SOM, Skidmore, Owen Merle, in New York, managing projects ranging from large complexes in US, Middle East, as well as in the Greater Bay Area here. All right, so let me get into, well, I would say it's not the deep water, but at least this is the problems that we've seen regarding some of the adoption in blockchain and construction, as well as some of the items listed here. But I really want to focus on one particular thing, is really adoption. And as you see the number, 90% of the AEC professional lack familiarity with blockchain, right? There are a whole bunch of paper on it, and it's really the problem, or how we can think of bridging the divide between academic research and so-called practical, right, or the practice in the industry. All right, motivation. So why I'm motivated in investigating market demand and doing basically a high-level market analysis on this? Well, let me state the aim. The article is really aimed to align academic blockchain research with industry needs in diverse sectors, right? Building on insights from engineering engineering and other application case studies. And this research really employs multidisciplinary approach, integrating elements of bibliometric methods and emphasizing real-world priorities. Right, here is something I really appreciate Abel and his colleague to really come up with this very defined framework with 6+2 means 8 categories of things that really matters to blockchain, how to categorize it. But I decided, for the matter of fact, because I'm trying to deal with industry or practice stuff as well as academia, I have to make some choices. So I eliminate culture and policy, which are not so arguably relevant to practice, so to speak. It's hard to do keyword search, which is the main method I'm using to do this kind of comparison between the industry and academia. So hence, I please take a mental note of those theme number, because it's kind of mouthy to explain it every time. So especially paying attention to theme 2, which is financing, theme 3 and theme 4, which is basically the bulk of a core application in construction design for blockchain. All right, keyword methods, as I explained, that's the main kind of research approach or method I'm using here. So I pick a particularly so-called database, which is called Crunchbase, for representing the amount of startups in the area that I'm searching, which is applying blockchain for construction. This is not very clear. Let me show this diagram over here. You can see by doing search on Crunchbase, basically using keyword blockchain and finance, you have a lot of results. And here I'm kind of refining keywords combinations to do another run. And I have arrived at this diagram, which shows basically 81% of these startups that are listed on blockchain, that's kind of relevant to applying blockchain technology in construction is really this called theme 2 area, which is for financing, tokenization of assets. When you compare to academic research, landscape is quite different. Let me kind of speed up a little bit. As chart 3 shows, if I run the similar, or I would say quite precise, exactly like Boolean search on Scopus, which is one of those largest academic paper library, this is a result. Actually, it's very diverse. And I did another, well, this is a kind of comparison between on the left, is an academic paper, how it distribute across all disciplines or categories. On the right, that is from Crunchbase, representing a startup. And over here, I did another iteration of refined research, or refined keyword search on Scopus. That's the result. In general, this is kind of the findings. Theme 2, which is the financing part, takes up 81% of the startup versus 6% or 17% in the academic effort. Theme 3 and 4, noticeably, there is a gap between the startup and the academic effort. It's, previously you can see over here. And the third point is really, something that I admire about the academia is they are really showing the vision, and hence the topics that they do is more diverse. Right, here is I try to do some market analysis to really look at the market size and what are the potential, right, for the main 3 themes, such as theme 2 for financing, applying the innovation diffusion theory or diffusion of innovation theory. We're able to do some, how to say, not in completely shooting in the dark, but almost like that, is to project based on how much we have right now in terms of the market size. Let's say in a mid or intermediary horizon, we can arrive at this figure, which is 4 billion. And for theme 3 and 4, also you apply the same method. We kind of project the market again in kind of like an intermediary or in a couple years. And this is something need more research on, but we'll say it will capture the market of at least 4.5 billion. And we can also approach this from a macroeconomic perspective, which dealing with GDP, global GDP, and this is kind of equation I did. But here is really take it with a grain of salt. There are huge regional variation, right? Meaning that even though like we claim that there was 2.5 trillion of the market size of applying blockchain in construction, there was huge regional variation that you have to keep in mind. Also apply for SWOT analysis on a couple companies that are found on Crunchbase, such as Digibill. And I would say, Yuri, this company raised 4 million. It's the other guy that raised 3, but they're all, I'm just kind of wake everybody up over here. Through this study, really kind of delve into the weakness and threats, right? We know that we're here to promote blockchain for construction, but in order to do a better job for adoption and help these companies grow and expand this area, we really need to be conscientious about a weakness such as market development and cost, as I identify here as the 2 major weaknesses, as well as threats from competition and obstacle in governance and regulation, which is some of our speaker earlier already explained. But in this case, I want to point out that funny enough, market development, I think at least, is the most difficult part because the adoption, low-level adoption, so on and so forth. I'm going to skip over here. So, if there are this type of gap and with weaknesses and threats, what's next, right? The silver lining thing is I really believe there was something called BIM. It happened to be I'm a BIM manager, right? So, but what I would dive into is some literature review that really suggests BIM as could be a solution to bridge the gap. Why? Primarily because BIM is widely adopted in the industry. I can't remember whatever figure. Yes, you see highlighted text over here. High BIM adoption rates provide a foundation with 73% of AEC professional and 66% of architecture technologies already using BIM. So if we ever could focus a little bit more on developing technology and doing research that try to integrate blockchain with BIM, seems like a pretty good avenue to go down along. So anyways, I really love to meet the representative from this company. I heard they're possibly joining, but this is a homegrown in Hong Kong, which is trying to use blockchain integrated with BIM. And that's pretty much my speedy presentation that I don't know if I have more time, but this block of text is basically what I try to say, stated some of the limitations, which are immense, right? And I would say really much of what I'm saying here is more a paper to call for papers. We love everybody's help, critique to really try to shed some light on onto the business side of blockchain application for construction. And most importantly, the more we do this, the more application we can evaluate the idea in a higher accuracy. Now, I really want to thank a couple of professors from Judge who literally before the flight here be able to review some of my slides, such as Professor Ansari and our marketing professor, Dominic. And if there are any questions, feel free to approach me after this. Thank you very much.